Hey everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, it's still morning. It's 9:44 here, where I'm at on a Saturday, April the 19th. I pray that you all are having a great day, getting your day started off right. It is beautiful again here today. I think it's gonna be like 85 degrees. I'm in Tennessee, so it could be 85 today and like 40 tomorrow. So, but today it feels good outside. It's a great day. Just to be out and about. It is Resurrection Sunday tomorrow, and a lot of people are doing a lot of things pertaining to this upcoming holiday. Um, but I just wanted to get on here and just talk to some people and to encourage you, right? To encourage you that there are many of us, and my name is LaShonda, by the way, LaShonda. And my channel is usually meant to encourage people, um, just to bring, truth, to those who have a particular calling, those that are on the journey to their purpose, to keep you going on the journey to your purpose, right? To never give up, don't stop. Don't let anybody or anything get in the way of that, because that is what God has for you to do. That is your spiritual life on the line. So don't let anybody get in the way of your calling. Okay. But anyway, I wanted to go in here and talk about the dream I had last night and the context of the dream, before I had the dream, right? So I know many of us are in a space where a transition is occurring. Like there's a transition happening in you, in your spirit, in your physical life, in your spiritual life. There's a transitioning that's occurring right now. I've talked before, if you heard the previous videos, about the separation that's occurring in the body of Christ, right? Not necessarily the wheats from the tares, but it's from in the body of Christ, right? We know that God separates the wicked from the righteous, but there's also a separation occurring between the righteous, right? Is the ones that are like truly in it for the right reasons, that have a true heart for God, that are constantly seeking Him out. The Davids, right? The Davids, right? And then there are those that love the Lord. They love the Lord. Um, they honor Him with their lips, but their hearts are far from Him. And who's to say, you know, everybody's walk with God is different, right? So we're not to judge anybody's walk, but God Himself is separating. He's looking at the hearts of people right now, and he's doing His own sifting, right? He's doing His own sifting. So in that, we try to stay focused, right, on what God is calling us to do, what He's asking us to do, what He's, the instructions He's given us, right? And we know that with that comes opposition, right? Um, but there's also like there's people, usually people that have like a really, I'm not gonna say a huge calling, but just people in general, right? But when you have a particular calling with the Lord, and it is a calling that you have to pursue, right? It's something you cannot not do, right? And most of the time you've had this call, like God knew this what you're going to do, like from the beginning, before you even born. He knew what was going to be inside of you because He put it there. He knew what you were going to become later on in life, and you have to go through a lot of things to get to where He wanted you to be, right? But that was already written in your book. Okay, that was already written, right? But the thing is, with that comes the enemy, with distractions, with people, with situations. There's always something that's going to try to get in the way of that, right? Because God has to build you up. He has to build your character, right? He has to put that strength in you because He calls something great to come out of you, right? Something great is going to come out of you. So that requires more of a sacrifice, more of a continuous consecration, more of a isolation, more of just a deeper digging to stay in His presence, right? To stay in His presence, because you have so much coming at you from all sides sometimes, and it gets overwhelming. It does. And a lot of times the things that are affecting you are things that are from people closest to you, right? The ones you think will support you in what you're doing. A lot of times it comes from that, right? Um, but in that, I was just talking to the Lord last night because, there are people you want to reach. There are people that you constantly try to reach. and you just can't for whatever reason, right? You can't because they're rebellious. They don't want to hear anything you have to say. They don't want to hear anything anybody else has to say. They're very prideful. They just don't want to hear it, right? Um, so in that, I was just talking to the Lord because sometimes you get frustrated. You just want to give up and be like, you know what? I'm done. Right? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Right? And I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just talking about situations that we, as children of God, as those that have been chosen for a particular calling or a particular thing, that's what we go through. Right? That's what we go through. So there are people around us, and I told you that you are to be mindful of the company you keep in this season, right? But sometimes you can't get rid of that company, right? They have to be there, right? But in that, and and you yourself are trying to stay focused, but then you have on the other hand somebody else that's not focused, or people around you that aren't focused on the same things that you are focused on, right? Um, and for me personally, that's why I have to keep to myself, right? I have to keep it to myself a lot of times, and I only really associate with people that are like-minded, like they're like-minded like me, okay? And if they're not like-minded like me, and if they're open to receiving words, I give it to them, right? If they're not open to receiving it, I still give you the word. But if you're not open to receiving it, I still have to give it to you anyway, right? But in that, there are just some people that you cannot reach whatsoever, that you will never reach, right? And you get tired sometimes. You get weary. Well, that's a scripture about not getting weary and well doing, but you do get weary, right? You do get weary. You do get tired. You do get frustrated, and sometimes you just want to give up, right? You just want to give up. So I was just talking to the Lord about that because I see the fruits of my labor in certain areas, and I don't see the fruits of labor in other areas, right? And those are the things you have to give over to God. You have to give it over to God because you can't fix it. I'm not trying to fix everybody, but some people you just can't reach, right? It's only going to be God that will be able to reach those people, right? Just like He reached you, like He reached me. I'm pretty sure there were several people that tried to get my attention, and for some reason because I was so distracted by the enemy, I couldn't hear it, right? I didn't hear what they were saying. If I heard it, it went through one ear and out the other, right? That's how so when you deal with people like that, you can't really get too mad at them because you were that person at one point, right? You were that person at one point. So you can't be angry at that because God had to encounter you to get you where you are today. So He's going to have to encounter those same people like He encountered you to get them where they need to be, right? But it does not stop your work. It does not stop what you do. It doesn't stop what you say. It does not stop anything, right? Because you have your own walk, right? You have your own walk, right? We all have our own walk with God. We all are responsible for our own salvation, right? It's not our job to save others. It's our job to teach others, to spread the word, the gospel to others, to, show them the truth, right? Show them the light, and it's up to them themselves to do the work after that, right? So I was just talking with the Lord last night, and I was just, really talking to Him, but just about how frustrated I was about some things, and I said, I said, I will not be defeated. I'm not going to be defeated. I will not be defeated. I refuse to be defeated. And I said, no weapon formed against me will prosper. No words formed against me will prosper. Nothing will formed against me shall prosper in the name of Jesus, right? But I said, Lord, you know exactly how I feel. I can't hide nothing from you. You know what I'm saying? I can't hide nothing from you. So you know how I feel. But I need you to cleanse my heart, purify my heart, and just keep my heart in a space of purity. Don't let anything negative sink into my heart, right? Don't let any negative feelings sink into my spirit. Keep me clean, keep me pure, right? So in that, as I was reading, I read before I went to sleep a little bit. I fell asleep reading, but anyway, I had a dream last night, and I just love how the Lord speaks to me. I love how He just confirms my feelings, how He acknowledges my feelings, right? Time, because we can go to the Lord with anything. Even when we're frustrated, we can take it to Him, right? We take everything to Him, take all of our cares, our worries, our desires to Him, and He will receive those words, and He will give us comfort. He will give us peace. He will give us instructions. He will give us conviction sometimes too, right? But in that, you say you can take everything to the Lord, take all your feelings back to the Lord, right? So my dream last night, and I believe this, he was showing me that there are many people that feel this way. There are many people that are in this, that feel like I feel, right? Um, in the dream, I forgot what all was happening in the dream, but the one section that stood out to me was a shower. And it was like one of those, like those big showers that be like in like the gyms where everybody is taking a shower together, right? They have different showers, but everybody is in there, like more than one person is taking a shower, and it's just open, like where you can see everybody, right? So in this dream, we were in the shower, and we had our clothes on, like everybody had their clothes on, and we were taking a shower, and then at some point somebody said, um, like just to remove bottoms or whatever. So we got ready to take our bottoms off, like not all of it, where you were completely naked, right? So for me, for example, if I had on like some pants, I just took off just the pants, not the underwear, not the garment up under my pants, right? Just the pants. So as I started to pull down my pants, take my pants off to continue to shower, the dream ended. So when I woke up from that dream, I just knew that that was the Lord giving me a message about what we discussed last night before I went to bed, right? And I've had dreams of water before. We know that water represents, purification. It represents cleansing. It represents renewal. Um, but I never had a dream where like I was taking a shower, right? So in the dream with the shower with my clothes on, I knew that it represented like a cleansing, a purification, or whatever. But I never had a dream with the clothes on. So when I was just kind of looking up, because I tell you, my dreams are not that hard to interpret. They're pretty straightforward, but sometimes I have to just look some stuff up, right? But I know what God is telling me, and I know what He's telling me, just from what happens in the context of before the dream. So it was saying that the clothes themselves, they kind of represented a barrier against negative energy, a shield, like to keep our vulnerability, our emotions, our spirit safe from the external world. Okay, and the clothes themselves were just represented like a protective layer, right? A protective layer for us, because sometimes when you are doing this, when you're on this walk and on this journey, you get so much criticism, you can get so much backlash, and and people like the outside world is constantly trying to pull you back, right? Constantly trying to pull you back, and in the form of people, right? Sometimes. So when God has removed somebody from your life, right? When He's taken somebody from your life, it's not for you to, keep pushing to have a relationship with that person, or keep pushing to want to go back, to being like somebody's friend and stuff like that. So there's people that God has removed from my life, that I stay away from only because God removed them, not because I didn't want to. I didn't want to be somebody's friend. I didn't want to keep associated with them. I've not associated with them because God pulled them away from me, or vice versa, right? So why would I want to go back to something, that God took away from me, right? That can have a whole lot of meanings right there, but but in that, so in that, what I'm saying is, when we're on this walk, we have a sort of a barrier up, right? Because we have a lot of things coming at us, right? A lot of things are coming at us, so we have to have we know that God is our covering, but physically, we are just emotionally, physically, we feel like we have to protect ourselves. We have to protect our spirit. We have to protect our energy. We have to protect our emotions. Um, and I think that's what the clothes kind of symbolize, being on that's like a protective barrier, right? But at the same time, God is He wants to use us, but He wants to be able to use us fully. And if you I think if you like what I'm trying to say it, there are some things that you have to release and let go of, right? And you have to be vulnerable. Like, you have to be vulnerable to being attacked. You have to be vulnerable to people coming against you. You have to be vulnerable to the things that come with this walk, right? You can't always protect yourself from it, right? Jesus didn't protect Himself when He was out there, right? He didn't protect himself. He dealt with the blows that came his way. And as people that are those that want to walk fully with Christ, that want to, reach others, that want to just stay true to what God's calling us to do, we have to deal with the blows sometimes that come our way, right? We can't protect ourselves from every single blow, right? We have to be open to receiving the pushback, open to receiving the criticism, open to receiving the negativity that comes our way, because God is where our strength comes from, right? His strength is in us already. So why do we need to protect ourselves from anything? Because he's the one that gives us the strength to deal with what comes our way, right? So the showering with the clothes on, it symbolizes the importance of maintaining your spiritual purity, okay, your integrity, your personal boundaries, as you navigate through, life, through the physical aspect and the emotional aspect of life, right? Because again, emotionally, it can be draining. It can be very draining dealing with people that are not like you, or that are not like-minded like you. They don't want to be like-minded like you. They don't want a true relationship with the Lord, right? They don't want to get rid of the worldly things. It can be draining, okay? But the water itself represented a spiritual cleansing of sort, washing away like external forces, right? That can cloud our judgments, to cloud our thinking and stuff like that. Let's see what else. The showering, where does it go? The shower itself, it would just, especially in the context of, I told you all what I talked to God about before, right, when I went to sleep. Taking the shower represented a desire to cleanse away all negative feelings, all emotional burdens, and and aiding you in your personal growth, right? It's a renewal and a transformation. Okay, it signifies the renewal and the readiness for personal transformation, indicating a fresh start for upcoming life changes or whatever. And the water itself, it just symbolizes a deep emotional state, right? And it can signify various emotional conditions. And again, this just ties back to how we can feel sometimes emotionally when we're doing this, when we're in this walk and somebody else is not in the walk with you, or there are people around you that don't feel the same way you do, right? It can be draining, okay? Renewal and rebirth, okay? It symbolizes fresh. The shower symbolizes fresh starts, and it can signify upcoming changes and transitions in your life, right? It's an inner purification, right? It's a spiritual cleansing, okay? And I feel like the fact that I had my clothes on at first, and while I was in the shower, and there's, like I said, there was a lot of people in this shower doing the exact same thing. So there's a lot of people that feel this way. They feel emotionally drained. They feel like sometimes physically drained from being on this walk, from trying to do what is right, from trying to live right, from trying to help others, trying to reach others, and those connected to you that don't want to listen, that don't want any part of it. They get drained. It's an emotional draining process, right? It can be. But again, we know our strength comes from the Lord, so we are not to get weary in well doing. We are still to stay super focused and laser focused on the task at hand that God has us here for, because you can't afford to give up. You can't afford to give up. Now, they, on the other hand, God might not call them like He called you, but He might have called you to reach them. You don't know. But again, you don't get weary in well doing, because one day, either they will have an encounter with God that will change their life, or your constant prayers over them will finally reach, right? You'll finally see the fruits of your labor, the fruits of your prayers, the fruits of you just being constantly, praying for them. Even with the blows that come your way, the pushback that comes your way, you still have to maintain your Christ-like spirit in dealing with certain people, right? So one day it will click, and your work will not go, it will not be done in vain. Like, it will finally click, right? But God is testing us to see how we gonna deal with it. Like he's gonna see if we're gonna give up. He's testing us to see if we truly have the heart of Christ, if we truly can stick with it. Again, when the opposition comes, right? When the pushback comes, when the negative criticism comes, he's testing our hearts. He's testing our hearts. And there are a lot of, like I said, I've talked to people, recently that feel the exact same way. They want to give up. But you can't give up in this fight. Like, you cannot give up. We are in a spiritual war. We're in a spiritual battle. And you have been called to be a part of the army. You are in God's army. You cannot give up. You cannot fight. You cannot go AWOL in this season. Okay? Because God needs you to fight. He needs you to fight for your children. He needs you to fight for your family. He needs you to fight for your spouses. He needs you to fight for the system that is trying to, brainwash our children. He brainwash us. He needs you to fight. He needs you to fight. Because the darkness is coming over this land. He needs us to be the light in it. Okay? So he needs you to stay focused. He needs you to be geared and ready to go to battle. The battle is already here. So you cannot give up. You cannot get weak. You cannot throw in the towel, so to speak. You have to stay focused because God is not looking at the outside. He's looking at the inside. He's looking at what you are doing. He's checking you, checking your heart to see where your heart is. And he didn't make us to be weak. We're not weak. No matter what people want to say about followers of Jesus Christ, we're not weak people, right? We've never been weak people. So some of the stuff that we went through, nobody else could have walked in the shoes that we walked in to get to where we are today. They would have gave up a long time ago. So that was my dream that I had. So God he was just giving me comfort and peace regarding just my feelings, like my emotions and how I felt, He's just renewing my strength, giving me peace and comfort, and just giving me that renewal that I needed to keep going forward, to keep pushing, to not give up, which I wasn't giving up anyway. But he just gave me that renewal, that comfort, that confirmation that I needed. I needed to get that from him, right? Because I was growing weary, not growing weary in the context of like I'm tired. Like I just want to, what I'm saying? But that's not what God has called me to do. So I'm not going to do it. But it's okay for us to be frustrated at times. But again, give all your cares, give all your problems back to God. Let him deal with it. And he will, just like he gave me that dream last night. That gave me the peace, the message I needed, the renewal that I needed, right? Cleansing me of all negative thoughts, all negativity that I had in my mind at the time that I gave over to him. He cleansed me from all of that last night in that shower. And if a lot of people feel that same way, he's doing the same thing with a lot of people. He's cleansing your spirit right now. He's renewing your strength. He's cleansing you of all the negativity that you feel, and he's renewing your strength. He's filling you back up. He's washing away all the negative energy. He's washing away the frustrations. He's washing away the weariness. And he is renewing your strength in this season. So again, I hope this message reach someone and they receive it. And I hope that you all just take it all back to the Lord. Take everything that I say back to the Lord and everything that everybody else says as well. But I do believe that this message is for a lot of people in this season, right? A lot of people in this season. So just stay strong, stay focused, stay prayed up, keep your battle gear on, right? Don't give up. God is with you. He is with you. And if you think he's not with you, have a conversation with him so that he can renew your strength. Okay? Well, you all have a great day and a glorious day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.